order is the Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Monday, August 7th, 2023. The first committee is Finance.
Thank you. I would like to call the Finance Committee to order, and the first item is the GIVE Financial Year 2023-2024 Grant Award. Assistant Chief. There's.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I am here to request the acceptance of the GIVE 2023-2024 Grant Award. This will be the 10th year that we've received the funding. The total funding amount for the City of Schenectady is $481,687.
Any questions? Comments? Go ahead, please.
And so the total grant of $1.2 million, part of it's going to be shared by the police, it's the police department, DA, probation, and the sheriff as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I wasn't used to seeing the sheriff on the give up.
Yes, I believe the sheriff's been on there for a small amount, 30 or 40,000, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. The next item is the Grant Award Community Hiring Panel Research and Evaluation. Assistant Chief.
So this is a new grant opportunity for us with the amount of $49,977 given by DCJS in partnership with the Flynn Institute to conduct research on our new community hiring panel that we instituted a few years ago. They want to know kind of the history of it and what difference it is making, if any, so that other agencies can duplicate it around the state.
Questions? Go ahead,
Yeah,
please.
so this is the Flynn Institute, who we've been working with for some time, is going to actually review this as well?
Yes,
Pamela?
ma'am. So all this money would go to Flynn Institute. We would accept it, and then we'd pay them out as they work on it. They would conduct the research, provide a formal report that would be made public as well.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? May I have a motion? Second. All in favor? Aye. The next item is discussion, passport app, and parking
Thank you.
kiosks.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Williams.
Thank you. So I wanted to bring this item up for just a discussion to understand if it's been an issue that's been identified among some of the other council members, but also with the mayor. It was actually brought forward to me by a resident who's sitting in the room tonight. Ran into a bit of an issue with getting conflicting information when parking in the Laz parking lot. Now, after brief conversations with Mr. Colden, recognizing that there's a difference between parking issues within these private lots, but also within the city, I thought that that'd be an important talking point to understand whether or not these types of applications and the persons that individuals are being directed to speak to. So this resident had an issue, referenced one of the lot members, and they told him conflicting information, which ultimately resulted in them getting a ticket. And as I imagine, you've all also recognized with some of the kiosks that are located in our downtown areas, I've experienced issues myself with the coins not being received or the dim lighting on some of the receptacles is difficult for my able-bodied eyes, so I can imagine for members of our age community. I want to make sure that we're not putting in place barriers that are inhibiting people from patronizing some of our local small businesses that are relying on this foot traffic. And I think anything that is cumbersome or putting in place restrictions to that is an issue. So I would like to just open it up for conversation. I know for myself, I would absolutely like to see whether we can update all of our kiosks to incorporate having cash. I know for myself, there's never a point in my day-to-day that I'm carrying quarters. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how feasible it is for you to go to a local deli or corner store and get quarters. So I think that alone kind of warrants us to pause and then ask that as we're expediting this technological revolution within Schenectady, making sure that one is meeting our intended outcomes, but also two, not leaving behind an aged community, which is so important and vital to our just long-term longevity.
Go ahead, please.
All right, so I can add to that I have encountered where the kiosks are not working. And I didn't want to use a credit card because that's your option. I don't want to download another app on my phone. And so it wouldn't take the quarters. And what I ended up doing was actually taking a picture of it and showing, because I did get a ticket, and I showed the picture, and it's like, it's blocked, it won't work. So, that's what I did in that instance. But in other instances, I've gotten a ticket because it just didn't work. So I think that we need to do something because there are people who cannot avail themselves to the app or choose not to. And they're not always working. Sometimes they're out of order, they're not working. I don't know how it works when people aren't using their credit cards there's nothing even on it that I can see to report if there's a problem. So I did ask Mr. Williams if he had spoken to the chief of police about this and if he had any input.
So I did have the opportunity to speak to Chief Clifford. I don't like speaking on behalf of individuals, but in our brief conversation, he mentioned that he's also had personal issues with the system himself. So I don't think that's in an area of concession. I think it's more or less how do we put in place the appropriate solution. Definitely, adding apps to my phone is nothing that I am uncomfortable with as a up-and-coming 33-year-old. But making sure that I'm not answering only from my vantage point, as you always say, how you see the situation is based on where you sit. But definitely recognizing that, hey, is there an opportunity for us to revisit these parking kiosks to see if there's the ability to upgrade our current devices? Or can we just have designated roads that are solely metered? Or how do we just provide more additional education to visitors and also residents, just identifying through signage, here's how you properly download the app. If you have any issues, here's a real-time person you can speak to help walk you through some of your concerns. And it's not just pushing someone to another operator who's not available.
No one else has ever had them.
Any other comments on this?
So I would like to know, and I guess this would be a question for the mayor, are there like two generations of the parking meters? I don't mean the older ones where it was quarters only, but the newer kiosks, are there ones that are newer than the ones like that are right out in front of this building? Oh, well, come on over. So glad you're here.
So I used to be in charge of parking a few
Oh,
years ago.
perfect.
So that's some years ago. So there are two generations. The new generations, I believe it was last year, we upgraded, I might have this, Chris, it's 10 or 15 of them, to new solar panels, and I'm assuming those are the ones that are better lighted than the other ones. The other ones are the original that have been working regularly. Daily, we get a report in our parking division that says what kiosks are working and which kiosks are not working and the reason for it. And then usually one of our parking guys goes out and fixes them. So this morning we ran a report, and of the 45 kiosks, we had one that has been dead since June 19th that they're working on, and then we had 6 other ones that alerted us status. One that will not accept money because it's full, and the other ones are, 3 of them need the batteries replaced soon because they're about to die. One of them was a paper feed error, and another one was a coin unit error. So those came in between August 4th and this morning. And then they usually get fixed the morning, Monday through Friday. And so when one of the parking division members come in, they'll fix them, and then they'll get a new report ran.
Go ahead, please.
So out of the 45, there's only 7 that aren't working properly. Well, actually, it's not really 7 because one of them just needs to be emptied of its money. Is that?
Yes,
is that
there's one that shows that percent of max amount of coins has been reached.
Mm-hmm.
That was as of the 4th at 2:14 in the afternoon.
And so, and the parking people are able to go out on the very same day and fix them because of this report? Is that?
Yeah, so usually they run this report in the morning when the supervisor comes in. So I don't think she runs it in the afternoon, but every morning, Monday through Friday, when she comes in, she runs the report, and then they'll try to fix whatever the issue is.
I guess then what happened with the one that hasn't been functioning since June 19th? What's the problem?
Since June 19th, it says communication failure, total error. So that's down in the stockade. I do not know what that is, but I can certainly look into it tomorrow morning. I do not know what I think the communication failure was similar to what we were having 2 years ago when I was in traffic. We had 6 or 7 of them that kept on causing issues over and over again, and that's when the engineers helped us replace I think 10 or 15 units with the new doors and guts on them.
Okay. And so does that report include all of the new generation? And
Yeah, new and old, yes ma'am. I can leave this with you if you'd like. So. All right.
Go ahead, please.
Another question, just in terms of complaints that you receive, how have you found the complaints in terms of these machines versus the past?
So
I asked the traffic lieutenant today, when I saw on the agenda, if the complaints have been up, and they said that they have seen a reduce in complaints. They haven't received as many. Usually it is people that have errors on using the machines, not the machines themselves, but actually trying to figure out how to use the machines.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Go ahead, please.
Do we run any cross-check against machines that are malfunctioning and tickets that are issued?
Yes, so we can. I know right now that the parking enforcement officers, when they go down there, they are instructed not to issue tickets when they're malfunctioning. So there's usually one officer that works downtown in this area, and that's where most of the kiosks are, and he does not do tickets when they're malfunctioning.
Go ahead, please.
Is there a number that the community can contact if they're running into any issues or have any concerns?
So Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or 8 to 4, I'm sorry, we have our traffic division, which unfortunately I do not have that phone number off the top of my head. It'll be on our website, and it's also on the kiosks, I believe, and the tickets if they unfortunately receive one when they shouldn't be.
Gotcha.
But yes, it's the 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. There's somebody live there that can answer the questions.
Good.
Next follow-up discussion. Would you be able to provide us just the differentiations between both of those generations? And then is there any projected plans to fully upgrade to the second generation from the older models?
I can get with engineering and see if they have that, or one way or another we'll get it to you, yes. Yeah, I'll make sure that we get that to you.
Mr. Warren.
Yeah, so I've been working with SPD since we got the kiosks. Before even, I don't know if you were around, Rich Macklacker and we got kiosks. We did upgrade it. I can get a quote to see what it would be to upgrade the remaining kiosks, because I know the new upgraded screens are a little bit more vibrant and colorful. I just wanted to also address the cash issue. I will ask about that, but at the time of these, the issue with the cash is in order to take bills, it is a power issue. It takes a lot of energy to take bills, read it, disperse the bills. So we didn't do that because in order to do that, they want them to actually be hardwired. So right now they're solar powered. So we move them around. We actually have moved them every couple of years. We see what's making money. We move them around the city, and they're just mounted into the sidewalks. But if they require power, that's a whole other animal that we really weren't prepared for. So coins are easy because it's just a tumbler, you know, it records it. Credit cards actually use very little power. You know, you slide it, it sends a message to the modem, and then that goes out. But the readers for money, that's a whole other thing. That's why they said that if you want solar, we don't recommend that. And you know, so many businesses now are going cashless. You know, I'm going to SPAC, everything's going cashless. And I'd also say that the app has been really successful. You know, we are partnered with Metroplex with the app. They're actually, we have an agreement with them to use it, and it has been very successful. Even Mike Fahey, our traffic enforcement officer out there, he's seen the app as being very successful. He thought you'd get a lot more pushback. A lot of people are using it, but I do also understand that even people such as my aunt and my mother have talked to me about the difficulties in the app, and they don't want to use it, and you know, they just want to come down and go to Whistling Kettle. So I hear it as well. But you know, I'll look at upgrading and see what that would be to see the newer screens. I do think sometimes people struggle seeing them. You know, I think people prefer they almost be higher, but they're ADA, so that if you were in a wheelchair, you can see them. Whereas if you were 6 feet tall, you're kind of doing this, which is also tough. But if you're in a wheelchair, it has to be at that height so that you can operate the screen. And then I don't know, the information is, yeah, we do sometimes have issues with communication failures, things like that. But lately, we've been on a good streak with keeping them on operation. So, what is that? Is that okay? I'll get a quote for you. We're doing our capital budget right now. I can just kind of roll that in so we can talk about what it is and which ones we could upgrade. If we're just talking about downtown too, we've been doing selective upgrades to just upgrade certain ones, the ones that get the most. Because really, we have some that get very high generating revenue, and then we have some that are really low generating revenue. So we try to put the money into the ones that generate revenue, and not the ones that don't.
Yep, and then you also brought up a good point, Mr. Wallen. I had a nice conversation with Mr. Gillen, Ray Gillen from Metroplex, and definitely my comments in no way are describing the work that was already done. I think in most instances, putting in place a solution, sometimes we forget to do like continued audits. So I think as we look to continue to improve on the city of Schenectady's recent developments. I think this is an area that we should definitely look into to make sure that we continue to identify some of these concerns to make sure every member in our community feels valued.
Any other questions? So would you like to follow up with this, or you?
Yep, I can get the information back from AC Whipple and Mr. Long, and I can come back to the council.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
both.
thank you both.
Thank you. The next item is follow-up to ARPA contract. Mr. Ferrari.
Good evening, Council President, City Council Mayor. Again, we're talking for ARPA. As our last meeting, we discussed about sending letters, which we did. I sent out letters and emails, and really, I think we woke some people up because we got a lot of responses. The only people who did not respond to us was Cocoa House, the Kiwanis Club, Habitat, and the Empowerment Center. But Habitat just contacted me recently, and they says, because of all the new employees and stuff, they're just a little slow to responding, but we got that going. Habitat, they talked to me today. Today, we just signed another contract, ARPA contract with SICM. Schenectady Foundation is going to be right behind them. We're really close to the contract for Schenectady Green Market, and one more. I just lost my train of thought here. But like he says, the letter that we sent out, we asked them to. In fact, would you guys like a copy of it? The letter we sent.
Yeah, I don't know if you have enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
So I'm just going to take it past that. So we asked them to send a letter by August 16th, just to put us in the process of where they are and where we want to go. I asked them too is to let us know.
Thank you.
Let us know if there's any changes or problems that they're having, or to let us know so that we can continue with this process going forward. I thought the letter was very successful going out because we did get such a good response. Anybody have any other questions about ARPA?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we get a response from the Aquatic Center?
The Aquatic Center, not after I sent this thing out, but we got the response a week before where they're asking once again to reconsider funding them, which I think we spoke about last time.
And how about Proctor's? We talked about them as well.
Yes, Proctor's, they responded. I had them look back at their application because they were saying, "Oh no, when we applied, we said we we're going to do this." I asked them to reevaluate what they saw in their application and call me back, which they will do. But I know that they had done other work in with the air ducts, which is part of the thing. That says, let me know where you are with that and how far you've gone with that, because I think it would have fell into that time period which they said they're going to start the project. We have bids going out for Miracle on Craig Street, and maybe by the end of this month or beginning of September they're due in. We have the Hamilton Arts Center is getting ready to. We're going to ready to bid out for that. We just spoke with the Boys and Girls Club during the week, and they didn't realize they had to go out to bidding, but it says, no, you have to go out and bid. so we got that working. We can't find his contact information for Kiwanis Club, so you guys on the Kiwanis Club, please let us know.
I think I was supposed to let you know that, and I will try to remember it tomorrow.
What's that?
Picnic on the blanket.
Yeah, that's right. In the meantime, you got picnics on the blanket. I'm trying to think. All in all, I thought the response was very well. With Harbor House, with the YWCA, they're going to come and meet with us to let us know. I also asked Miracle on Craig and Hamilton Hill to maybe come in and present to the council and stuff. Going forward, what it looks like for them and their project.
So what is the Harbor House going to actually come and do?
We're going to come and discuss the numbers, you know, they're coming actually to meet with us, you know, and finances to see what the numbers are. Because I believe they're very close to getting their commitment, and I think maybe they might ask for an extension so that they can get that to fulfill the gap.
Is this the meeting on the 24th that you're talking about?
I don't recall what day it is.
Well, I don't know how many
Yeah.
meetings there are,
Yeah.
so I know there is one on the
Okay,
24th.
maybe that's the one.
Is that the one?
I don't know what day it is.
It's coming up at some point.
Oh, well, it was set up through your office, so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if they were the same ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. Off the top of my head, I can't
Okay.
remember.
So at this point in time, we're giving people until the 16th
Yeah,
to respond.
Yeah.
And then by our next committee meeting, we will know
Let's
from everyone. We
Let's
should
hope. Yeah, we should know. But like I said, it got people moving, and you know, we're getting responses, and they're starting to talk to us more. So now we know. And actually, too, the other big thing that happened is, you know, we've learned who's in charge now, because there's some organizations went through 2 or 3 different people. Boys and Girls Club, you know, the gentleman Scott just started a couple at the end of April, May. You know, he wasn't even, you know, like I said, he didn't know that he had to bid these things out. So we're working on that. But they got information in, and the pre paperwork, and so we're all working on that to move forward now. And so it's a big push, and you know, I think they were surprised that, you know, we're calling, writing, and emailing them. So I'm trying to hit all the avenues.
Go ahead.
So I just want to make sure we don't gloss over the, I guess, status of the aquatic center, just because it is one of the public projects that I've noticed. Has there been a formal response from the council, or are they waiting for us to formally respond? And then caveat, were you able to determine whether we are even able to have that discussion, disperse some funds outside of the city?
I do not know if you guys formally sent anything to them. Not that I know of.
And we would as a council formally send everything that would come, everything would come through the city. not through the
Okay,
city.
so are you saying that the council would not formally tell them that they're not eligible?
We would make that decision, and then
You
whatever,
would make that, yes.
we would
correct.
make the decision, and then whatever came in writing would come through.
All right, so I'll go contact them again tomorrow. I'll send something out to them.
But they already got this letter, right?
I believe so, yes. Or email anyways, I don't, I can double check.
Yeah, and if they didn't, I would recommend they get one.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't know if we really need to have that discussion again about how the money, whether the money could be spent outside the city, if we've already come to the conclusion that that cannot happen.
Did we come to the conclusion? It was not part of our game plan, no?
Okay.
But
Go ahead, please.
I don't think that it's formally that we can't spend the money outside. That's going to be a council decision, I would think. I think that what you indicated was that it wasn't necessarily part of the ARPA regulations that we couldn't spend the money outside the city. It's really a judgment call on our part that we have to decide.
Well, I'll double check it, but I am not really 100% sure, but I would say that what our rules are, how we decided to do it was within the city, you know?
If I remember correctly, Ms. Diaz not here, is that there were people that put in the applications that were outside the city, and so that was like immediately they weren't even considered. So that's what we did at the beginning of the application.
So we would have known that because it was that internal kind of thing that happened within the...
I'm sorry?
We would not have known that it was part of the internal process that the office went through before we saw the...
Right, so so in this case, if they made the decision already to be out in Rotterdam, then we would have never made it to this table because they were outside. So it's just now that things have changed and now they are outside the city. So how does that work?
Go ahead, please.
Well, I think since we have those rules in place, we've had them in place, I think it would be appropriate for us to rescind that money, and I would make a motion in that vein.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
wait, is that
Go ahead,
what,
Selectman.
wait, is that what we're doing right now? Are we waiting for are we waiting for them to come through with the letter to tell us whatever? They may make that decision on their own.
Go ahead, please.
They've already been public about that they're going out of it. So I don't think there's anything
But-
further we really need from them. It's just our decision. And there was a motion, Mr. Williams seconded, and
Yeah.
I think
I mean, unfortunately, I have to support it. I mean, I was a big advocate myself and Women's Patrick to fund the aquatic center, but it's unfortunate that it went out of the city line, and I don't think we should fund it. We should keep that money in-house to other projects. So I'm supportive of that. Sad to see it go on this way. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think that I'll support what the majority of the council supports, but I do think that there will be an economic impact to the city of Schenectady, because I don't think that the hotels and the restaurants outside, basically less than a mile outside the city, will be able to handle the crowds that will be coming into the aquatic center. But I will support what the majority of the council. And I wasn't sure if anything ever happened in terms of talking to the county about receiving an increase in the bed tax, which is what part of our contingency was originally on the aquatic center as well. I don't know, whether that occurred as well.
so. As far as the economic impact goes, it's going to be muted anyway, because they'll still be in Rotterdam, they'll be using our hotels. We'll still get that same percentage without giving them the money. Secondly, we could use that $2.5 million to fund various projects in the city, which will garner people to come in our hotels and our restaurants. Travel baseball is a multi-million-dollar industry. If we update our B and C diamonds as well as the Babe Ruth field, we would have a facility that nobody in the Northeast or maybe the Atlantic coast, except for the South, could even come up with. There's the hockey arena possibly, which could as well bring in millions of dollars. So we're talking about a percentage of money that we're getting from the county when we have $2.5 million. The return on investment for that would be quite large. So we can use that in the city and do projects. So I think the economic impact outside the city is minimal.
I definitely see, I think we have infrastructure needs, for example, that money can be used for. So I totally, right? Tony's
Just
really
go up Eastern Avenue.
Yeah.
They will be used for that money, and to add to Mr.
So I
Palmini,
definitely understand that.
There is also
Let's
the
throw
event
cricket in
center
there.
also, to
Make
the
sure
hockey
we-
arena.
The what?
I said, let's throw cricket in the hotel.
Yes.
We got all kinds of sports
All
going on
right,
here.
so I think the majority is to not fund it.
We have a
You
motion
have a
and a
motion?
second.
Yeah, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Okay,
So we formally rescind that funding for
all
the
right,
aquatic
very
center.
good. Any other questions before I go?
Oh, do we send a formal letter to them through from your office or from the council?
Well,
From
the original.
law department?
So my question is, originally, were there letters sent out saying that you were funding this money? Is that how that worked?
Yes.
I'm asking that. Yes?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, originally, did we send letters out to each organization to say that this is what they were awarded based on whatever contingencies? Is that how that went?
I don't think we sent letters out telling people they had the award. The resolutions were, once the city council passed it, were made available to the groups, and council members had individual conversations with different groups, telling them that it was generally well covered in the press as the money was awarded.
So there was no correspondence from the Department of Development directly with them?
I wasn't part of that.
Correspondence when we were asking for the documentation and putting the
Right.
contracts together, but was there a specific letter saying you've been awarded X dollars? I don't know if that was sent or not.
Mr. Coleman, would we need to do a formal resolution to rescind this?
Yeah, the council
We
passed
think
the
we need
resolution,
it.
it's just the city's passed, it's got to go before the council, so then to rescind.
It was an appropriation of funds it was an appropriation of funds for a particular project rather than a resolution authorizing a contract. So the council can pass a resolution, and if you're going to look to reappropriate the funds at some point, revoking the appropriation of funds specific to this project.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So is that the resolution that
We
you
need
guys
to move an
just?
amendment to resolution
Yeah.
2022-214.
It would be moving to revoke the appropriation of funds to the Aquatic Center pursuant to the resolution identified as 2022-214.
That motion is on the floor.
You're-
Yeah, already voted on it, but we didn't
Yeah,
vote on this to amend this resolution.
You
Or
voted
we
to
can
rescind.
rescind it.
Yeah.
So that is going to be passed.
To revoke the appropriation of funds specific to the Aquatic Center
Okay,
for 2022-214.
okay.
Do you need, are you asking for it to be voted on specifically like that?
If we can do that, let's just do that right now. I think it'll just be easier. Thank you.
Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you. Any other business of finance?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order city development and planning. There are 7 items on the agenda. First item, to authorize the issuance of a revoked permit number 677 to Herbie's Burgers for a sign with accent lighting. Mr. Wallen.
Thank you. This is a revocable permit on pedestrian J Street, about a block away from here, for a restaurant called Herbie's Burgers. Herbie's Burgers, I did some little quick research on it. They have 4 locations in the Capital District. This will be their 5th. They were not aware of this process. They thought site plan approval was the permit, so the awning is actually up. If you were to go down J Street, the sign is not, but the awning is. So they have a very large pinkish yellow trimmed awning out there, which was hard to miss for us to walk by and go, does that have a permit? And did some contacting of them, and they didn't have a problem coming in for it, but they weren't aware. I don't have any information on the restaurant itself opening and things like that, but development has looked at this. The awning is similar to the awnings that are on there, and the sign will look at their logo like this guy with a fun face. So looking forward to having a quick burger and fry place on the street. Are there any questions?
Any questions? I'll move it.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, award bid contract for the Schenectady Municipal Golf Course irrigation system installation.
So this is an ARPA project. Funding was approved during the initial round of applications. $3.5 million for the replacement of the original manual single row irrigation system. So this was designed several years ago. We put it out to bid, updated it, put it out to bid, and we received 2 bids from 2 of the larger, more qualified in this area. So we have George Lake Company and National Lawn Sprinklers. If you would look, the bids are very close. Both bids were also under budget. So what we are looking to do is award base bid 1 and alternate bid 1 together and move forward with the project.
Any questions? Comments?
I'll move this.
Second?
No one has the general question of when?
General question of when to do this?
Amazing. I was prepared for questions on that. Yeah.
On when?
So we had the meeting with them before this, and it looks like they will be able to fit us in April 1st of next year, which is ideal. We thought we might be April 1st of 2025.
That's great.
So with this award, we are going to start doing what's called shop drawing approvals and order the package pump station, which is, the pump station, pushes the water. That has a 6-month lead time. So that's why this timing is good. We are going to approve, we're going to get that thing ordered, and hopefully everybody's going to be ready to go April 1st. So very exciting to have something like that ready for the summer when they really usually need water. Maybe not this July, but usually need water.
Guess you don't have any golfers here, I don't know. All right.
Oh, I'll move it. Oh, we did it,
You
right?
did moved it already.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you, Mr. Wall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 3 is a ceremonial resolution recognizing Black Business Month, which is August, So I just wanted to be able to have a couple of businesses, maybe the city come in and to recognize them.
I'll move this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item, discussion of the zoning cannabis shops. Mr. Coley, I just wanted to kind of get an update, where we are with that?
I believe Mr. Marnie has talked to some folks in development. I know, obviously I was out for a couple of weeks, and I know I think may have been in contact with some of the city council people during that time to discuss potential for what the zoning would look like. I'll have to check with Mr. Marnie tomorrow. I didn't see any directive that the council was looking for us to draft anything. Certainly, because this would be something legislative coming from the city council, the input from the council would obviously be significant in passing something. Happy to talk to Mr. Marnie tomorrow, schedule a time for us to sit down and get into the meat, so to speak, of a draft. I think having a draft before the council to look at, and obviously running it through the applicable departments of the city that would be impacted with enforcement would be necessary to have a discussion over a proposal, an actual proposal.
So I thought that he was going to be working with the Department of Development. Is that?
Yes. My understanding was, Mr. Marnie wanted to talk to the development department. I don't know what meetings, if any, have happened since I've been back. Obviously, there's some change happening, in the development. There has been some change happening in the development department. So we want to make sure that the people who I think are the most expert in drafting are around the table. And we obviously, for the purposes of enforcement, that's going to have to obviously involve the zoning officer as well.
Okay, just wanted to know where we are with it. I know it's going to take a few months. And my understanding, Mayor, you did say at the last meeting that there's already someone who had something already in the works, so this isn't going to apply to them. One.
May or may not, if they're in the works, and I was going to have Naeem here tonight. He had a death in the family and is returning from the funeral today. Those are some of the ones that have been cited, John, so that you can, there's an ongoing review with that, and just part of the general discussion to...
The ones that have been cited that they haven't gone through?
These are ones that...
These are different. This is smoke shops. We're talking about the cannabis shops.
Cannabis.
But it's,
this is the enforcement part.
it's the enforcement part of it where that's not a clear line in terms of what some of these stores are doing.
So, but at the last meeting, you said that there was already a business that had already started their process. So this wasn't going to apply to them.
That would be my understanding if somebody is in the works.
It depends where they are in the pipeline of getting approvals. I don't know of an application that is currently before any body of the city of Schenectady, whether that's the BZA or the Planning Commission.
Okay.
I'm not aware of that because we don't do the intake of those applications.
Okay.
But if there's an application that is pending, they would be excluded from any zoning requirement potentially.
Well, they would have to comply with whatever the zoning is.
Currently.
Right. They'd be pre-existing non-conforming if they get approvals and all that, and then the council passes some, zoning code changes that would say that where they currently are, or where they're proposed to be, is now not an allowable use.
Because I received a phone call that there's at least one other that they said they got their license from New York State and wanted to know, the question was, what was our zoning for the city? So I sent them to zoning because that's, so.
And our office hasn't been in contact with that, whoever it is that reached out to you, so we haven't heard anything from them. So I don't know where they are in the, the pipeline at the city level.
Right.
The Planning Commission, et cetera.
All right. Did you have something, Ms. Feldman? Okay, so I just wanted to have an update and let us know where we were. Okay. Um,
Sorry.
It's
It was
okay. It's okay.
separate from what I was originally going to ask,
Okay.
but there was a discussion about putting in M1 and M2 zoning. So when you go forward with that, please do look into that. There is a zoning map online. Granted, I'm colorblind, so it's hard for me to differentiate between some of the colors, but it looks fairly substantial, the M1 and M2 zones. So I would appreciate that being part of the discussion and looked into.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Item number 5, discussion, poet laureate. Swains.
Thank you, Ms. Porterfield. So I just wanted to bring this up just as a, I guess, quote-unquote heads up. I've had really good conversations with the Poet Laureate in Buffalo a few months ago, and I recently followed up with the Poet Laureate for the state of New York. And I truly believe that this position has beneficial opportunities for our community with respect to literacy, but also providing other people the opportunity to use their voice to magnify just some issues or concerns in both a positive and I think just area of improvement way. So I wanted to see if the council would be open to me scheduling a presentation. That was pretty much my initiative.
Oh,
I would be open to that. I think that I did some research after I saw that this was back on the agenda and went to the Academy of American Poets to see, the various things that they recommend around this. And I know that the Poet Laureate in the city of Saratoga has been doing a lot of work. I think it kind of brings attention to, sort of in a ceremonial way, that we care about the arts in the city, that we care about literacy. I did notice that some of the, sometimes in municipalities that have poet laureates, they're through the library system, which is obviously in our area a county piece. There's usually an application process and a committee. So we have some great people in town that might be able to be part of the selection committee if we move forward with it. But it really needs to have like a meaningful role with the school district as well, in terms of really trying to get into the schools and teach and foster a love of poetry among youth of all ages. So I think those are also places that, I don't know if you've had conversations with the school district, but I could see them being involved as well.
yes, this way.
And just for clarification, this is not for someone who says, I wrote a haiku once, can I apply
Right.
to this? Like, it is very much showing an ongoing history of being invested in this style of communication. So I'm definitely looking forward to reaching out to the library and also the school district to see how we can work collaboratively to identify the right person.
Oh, and I definitely don't have any problem having someone come and do a presentation.
Same here, very supportive.
Personally think it'd be better placed up at the county level as the body at large for all of us. They would be able to, obviously we're the biggest piece of the county, but that person would be able to participate in the school district locally, but also would benefit some of the smaller areas around. And I think being placed at the county level would be much more appropriate than at the city level.
Would you be willing to share them with us at county?
Absolutely.
Because as you said, the city is the bigger piece of this, so I would, yeah. As long as we could, I don't know that we necessarily, if it had to be there, it could be here and they could, the person could also do things throughout the county. Any other discussions around that? So, Mr. Williams, what is your plan moving forward?
So tentatively plan for a presentation in the next committee meeting, and I can provide more information confirming. So in 2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks? Okay. Thank you. Okay, item number 6, authorize the abandonment of a portion of Larch Street.
Thank you. First, I appreciate the council tabling the resolution at the last meeting. we already did a public hearing on this. Nothing's changing as it relates to that. It was just that what had to be passed is an ordinance, not a resolution. So looking to put it on for the next meeting as an ordinance. It's going to really contain the same language, identify when the public hearing was, and move forward with the abandonment.
So we need to move this as an ordinance.
Correct.
So I'm going to ask for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Item number 7 is just a reminder of the public hearing regarding the moratorium on smoke shops and vape shops and similar uses. All of that's there for you. It refers to, and the mayor provided some information about places that code enforcement has already gone out and looked at. So that ties into item number 7, and the public hearing will be on August 14th.
Oh, thanks.
Is there anything else to come before city development and planning? Not?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, we're adjourned.
I'd like to call to order claims. And we have one item on the agenda, and we will need to discuss that item in executive session, so I'd like a motion to go into executive session.
So
Second, all in favor? Aye.